Welcome to another episode of the Relevant Recruiter Show. Today I am with the man himself, Neil Lebovits.
Well done. Well done.
Yes. Yeah, good. I'm happy that
very well done.
But for those of you who don't know Neil, he runs the independent recruiters group. What is it? Independent Recruiters
Staffing Agency. Yeah.
Yep, on Facebook. He's the founder of Boss Back Office Staffing Solutions. Did I get that right too?
You did. Back Office Staffing Solutions.
Beautiful, yep. Beautiful. And he's also the co-host of Headhunters and Boxers with the Man DSP. So Neil, thank you for hanging with me Friday, man. How you doing?
Hey, totally great. I'm doing great. It's Friday, crazy week, all good.
Yep, beautiful. Beautiful, man. Well, let's just start right off. I want to dig right in. Let's just share, if you don't mind sharing, how did you get into this industry? How did you get in the staffing recruiting space, man?
So, quick story. I mean, I didn't go to college for it, that's for sure. I went to college at Penn State to become an accountant, worked for Ernst & Young, got my CPA, had a midlife crisis at 23 years old. You know, just, wrong place, fish out of water, miserable. I was going to get into something totally different, advertising, creative, copywriting. And I got a call, like everyone in the top accounting firms would get calls from recruiters. And one guy's like, "Oh, you should come work for me." Small New York independent firm. And love the guy. I was like, I might as well do something like this until I find something in advertising. Mm-hmm. And then a buddy that had a friend at Robert Half said, "Wait a minute, before you go there, these guys are giants. Go ahead and check them out." So I did. Joined Robert Half, and the rest is history, as they say. That got me into the business, and I went from. Now I'm dating myself, but it was 1988. My starting salary at 85 was $30,800, 30,800, and I made 90,000 in my first year at Robert Half. So it was a game changer.
Nice. So started off at Robert Half as a recruiter. How did the career evolve from there? Did you ever end up starting your own firm and things like that?
No, boy, I went on the total corporate route. I mean, the end story is I ended up becoming the president and chief operating officer of their largest competitor, accountants on call, Agilon Finance. I worked myself up into, pretty fast, awkward. I became my boss's boss in 10 months being there, so he was not happy. Mm-hmm. Took on that whole group, got promoted, moved on out to get a couple of offices. And then I got promoted by Agilon Finance, started as a branch VP, and became president COO, and was with them for 20 years. And it was kind of cool to, go head to head with them. Granted, they were always a lot larger. Right. But, Agilon went from a $40-50 million company when I joined to $1 billion division when I left. So it was really cool. So I did that. And then my last year with Agilon, I became global president of Adecco for finance, accounting, legal, and high-end office. So did not go on my own until I was all done with that.
Right. Nice. So you've just worked yourself up in these bigger recruiting firms and got yourself into kind of leading some departments and things like that, huh?
I did the corporate route, tied to the man, stock options, big bucks, but cliche, not happy, right. And so money doesn't make the man. Mm-hmm. And lots of politics in a big company. I was really miserable and this is when I was global, right? So I was commuting to Zurich and flying first class everywhere and 5-star hotel. And I'm not saying this in a cocky way. I'm saying this in that stuff doesn't matter, right? Right. And 7-figure income, stock options, and miserable. And they hired a consulting firm to look at the structure. I was put into this really weird role with all the other people on the executive team. So I was actually running the company with like 8 of us. We're running this $30 billion company. It was quite cool. But right. Outside of that, wasn't happy. And so this consulting company came in. They spent $20 million on this project, and they were asking me, what do you think about you and this country manager? It's a matrix organization is what it's called. And I was like saying everything I can to have them get rid of me. Right. Not in a bad way, meaning I don't think the structure works, which it didn't. Here's why it's bad. But they made that decision on their own. So after a year of consulting, I got a call when I was on a cruise ship to fly to Zurich. Knew something was up, and I got let go with all the other people on the executive team that were running these business lines. And that was 20 years in it. And it was a 3-minute conversation for all my 20 years, which, no loyalty anymore in this world. Yeah. I would expect a 10-minute conversation.
At least a 10-minute conversation.
Maybe a half hour. Maybe let's go out to lunch and, hey, listen here. But it was 3 minutes.
To fly across the world?
And exactly. And I flew back home that day.
Right.
So, and $10,000, or I think, whatever. It was ridiculous. But I was really happy. But it kind of falls under the be careful what you wish for, because once you get out of the real world and you got to earn a buck, it's like what everyone goes through listening to our shows. You got to hustle and regroup and do your magic.
Yeah, love it. So those of you that are listening live, give us a little like, give it a little love, and feel free to drop any questions you have for Neil in the comments there. I'll try to get to them as we go through this. But so you get let go. 3-minute conversation, fly across the world again, come back to reality. Then what? Where do you go from there?
Super happy. And then, they gave me I got a great severance package, and they insisted on, which was a big lawsuit and all that, because ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But they made me sign a 2-year non-compete. So instead of doing what I should have done, which is regroup, come up with a different angle, not compete with them, and I took the advantage to take a year off. I hung at the pool. I went to the gym every day, drove my wife at the time, and maybe that's why it was at the time, crazy. And that was it. And then after about a year, and she was not happy, and I don't blame her. It was enough of a sabbatical. So they allowed me to get into the training business. They changed my contract. They said, fine, you can do that, but you can't do this, or that. So I set up the dynamicsale.com, which is a training business. And for 10 years, I ran this training and consulting business for the staffing and recruiting industry. And while running a desk, but it was a really it was just clients that knew me forever. It wasn't selling. I mean, it would be a couple $100,000 in revenue for people I knew, clients I knew, and that was it. So I was really a trainer, and I made my mark getting my name out there on all the national, and this is really before social media was what it was. You had to hit the pound the pavement. It was, 12 years ago. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And be involved in all these conferences and conventions and email marketing before anyone did it.
Right.
Right. I had a LinkedIn group. I was one of the first people. There were 14,000 people in it, which was awesome until it sucked.
Right.
Right. With all the spam that is in LinkedIn.
Mess that whole thing up.
Oh, nightmare. Yeah. So I got into training and then became a guru, thought leader, expert, and an all-around fun guy and a consultant. And I had a lot of clients that would bring me in to help them, fix their business.
Nice. So tell me a little bit, or share a little bit about the back office staffing solutions. What's that all about? And what?
So, the bottom line is it's a company that helps. We help recruiters place temporary staff by becoming the employer of record. Okay. So a recruiter that deals largely in search. We deal with people that just do temp. We take on all the headache. If you're a small recruiter, you get 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever, 15 positions a year, or 1 or 2 even. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get all the insurances. And if you're going to do it right, so you really don't get sued, criminal, cyber, libel, EPLI, professional, general, umbrella, workers' comp, unemployment insurance, registrations, you're not doing all that stuff, and you shouldn't be. We do that. So we employ the people ourselves. The recruiters give us the clients and the candidates. We employ them. We do all the super great automation. We do all the credit checks, invoicing, collections. So the recruiters, the relevant ones, just have to go out and find the clients and candidates. And I got into it really as a fluke, because when I was doing all of my selling, I had 2 things that people were outsourcing was a big thing. People, who do you outsource for this? And I was constantly referring them to India outsourcing companies for recruiting, for what have you. And another thing I got all the time was, hey, do you know anyone who can help place temps or back office, an EOR, which I didn't even know that term, employer of record.
Right.
So I talked to a couple people, found one, and I just started referring people for free.
Right.
And then after doing it, it's like being a recruiter and you're trying to pitch someone in this specialty what you think your niche is. And nah, I don't really have any needs for that. But do you have an SAP person? All right, how many times do you have to hear that till you switch from Cobalt, it doesn't exist anymore, to SAP, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So I started partnering with someone and said, look, let's come up with a deal. We basically came up with an informal joint venture, and it became my biggest revenue stream. And passive. I just did it with people that would ask me, and I'd market it all the time, but I wasn't selling it full time. And it became, multi six figures and wonderful. And after years and I was really happy with that and being a trainer and doing all that stuff. Honestly, I came up with a business plan to create a better mousetrap, but I was a little complacent. I was fat and happy with an easy passive income check, basically being quasi-retired, house paid off, but it wasn't good. I wasn't at my most motivated. It was easy,
right,
but unexhilarating. And I got into, this is a funny story. I became a ticket broker, like a scalper, like one of those people that people hate on StubHub. I got into that. And I loved it. And like anything, I wanted to master that. I eventually had 13 monitors with each with 10 virtual computers within it, all going through the cloud to bypass fingerprinting technology that Ticketmaster would do. I had all these virtual phones that would automatically send you the verified fan codes. And I was on StubHub and I did $2 million in sales in 12 months. So it's crazy. And then it's between the back office and then this, I'm making a really good living. Not scalable. Would I be happy peddling tickets and being unmotivated for the other things after the novelty wore off? Probably not. Right. And I knew it kind of was a bit of a cop-out for what I was capable of. Wow, this is like a therapy. I feel like I'm on with Barbara Walters right now. I'm going to start crying in a minute.
That's what we do on the show, baby.
My God, I'm going to start crying. You are. Wow. COVID for me, I'm one of those people that it was a blessing. I mean, as you can imagine, the ticket market died that day. Right, died. Exactly. Yep. Like everything, 3 days. Every concert canceled, postponed, nightmare. Not a ticket to be sold. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, let me go back to really focusing on the back office. Didn't want to train anymore, only because, it's hard and you're on constantly. And you really do need to be all over the place and hit the circuit. And I did that for 10 years, so I did it, proved it, wasn't as exhilarating for me.
Right. So
it forced me to pull out that old business plan and tried to talk to a couple of people to go in on it with me, and no one really wanted to take the risk. I'm like, you know what? I train on this all the time. Like, I don't need a partner. It's a partner. Not that there's anything wrong with a partner, but people out there, recruiters, don't need a partner to do it. Like, there's a fake comfort with that, even though it's fraught with problems, right? Yeah. And so I set it up with stuff I already had in motion and launched it in a crazy amount of time, within like 8 months. And it is a spinoff of what I was doing. So I've been in it for 9 years, had all the access, all the funding and capital, got investors. We have like 20, 30 people already, 25 people. Nice. And it took off like gangbusters. It's amazing. And it's I'm so thankful. And I love every second of it, and it's not about the money, you know?
Well, and I love how you're bringing that up. You've mentioned this several times throughout this interview here that you're, you've made you've made plenty of money throughout your career, and that has not equaled your happiness. And you've always kind of found a way to get back to what makes you happy. And like you said, COVID kind of was a blessing for you because it kind of forced you to kind of, I'm going to guess maybe play big again. Like you knew you could.
Totally.
Yep.
And my energy and motivation, everyone needs to know. I've always trained on this, and I'm sure you do too. Everyone needs to have like a Tony Robbins. You need a compelling motivational reason to do whatever it is that you do.
Mm-hmm.
If it's about money, the second you hit your goals there, it's never enough. You want a bigger boat. It's you're used to that. It's unfulfilling. Same with your candidates. Why money isn't at all the number one motivator for candidates. It's like number 3, as everyone knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it was always the creativity, the challenge of building, making something from nothing. And I love it. I mean, I work crazy hours like every entrepreneur that you read. And people are like, you got to stop. I'm like, why stop? DSP, David Stephen Patterson, the guy I do the as you know, the Headhunters and Boxers show. He said he gets grief too. And he said it was like Mozart or Van Gogh. I think it was Van Gogh. It's like, why are you spending whoever it was, why are you spending every weekend using up your time painting? Shouldn't you be doing something else? Get a work-life balance? He's like, this is what I love.
Yeah, like, what I love. Exactly.
I love doing this. So I really do love doing it. And I don't want to sound like I'm superhuman. I'm not. I've been through depression. Mm-hmm. I've been through really low periods. I've been through miserable times at work. I've been through second guessing your career and life moves. Mm-hmm. I've been through financial disaster. So I don't want to give anyone the image that, wow, easy for you to say. Not at all. I will just say I've always been at my happiness, and people that I've mentored and worked with are always at their happiness when they're constantly moving, constantly building, and whatever it is. And what you train on, like, and people that are watching your show, like they're doing it because they want to get better at something. So it doesn't matter what it is, and it's different for everyone, but you have to find whatever it is and do it, because just going through the motions is debilitating and self-fulfilling. Right.
Well, you find, it's funny how many people I come across you speak, and like people, and I guess it's always something for me that I've always challenged with, because when I'm willing to, I move fast, right? Meaning that if I don't like it, I'll cut it off, and whatever it is. But there's so many people that sit in places, whether they're, running a business of their own that they're just completely unhappy running, or they're in a job that they're completely unhappy at, and just people won't make that choice to take a leap and realize that there's another opportunity out there. And it's just a part of our journey. But I think the biggest thing you bring up is exactly that. When I'm doing my work, I'm not working. I can do what I'm doing all the time. And one of the things for me is one of the things I'm most passionate about is I love to coach people. That is my passion. That fills my cup. That is something for me that I know that helps. So for me, that incorporates, doing a show like this. I enjoy this. Writing content.
Oh, I love the shows. Love the shows for sure.
So, those are types of things that I think for people just, I think we overthink it so much. And nowadays with what's out there with technology and all these tools to our disposal, you can almost create whatever you want now.
Well, you know what? And bingo. So, and what I was going to say, and you're probably saying the same thing, is look at like a link, like people that are like LinkedIn. How do I want to master LinkedIn? Here are the tools for LinkedIn. Here's come up, like do what I did for my business too, which helped grow it massively. Like, how am I going to crack this code on LinkedIn? And don't worry about the 1,000 other tools. I'm going to focus right now and building my desk. Mm-hmm. How am I going to automate this thing? How am I going to really, and I spent time of really thinking about, all right, how am I going to connect with people? What number of connections? How am I going to then feed them into what was Duck Soup at the time and now Linked Helper? Right. How am I going to use automation to Zapier to automatically feed them to my CRM? How is my LinkedIn InMail and then regular message and then phone calls when I automate, try to go to these people, when I'm going to hire a virtual assistant, get their cell numbers, and then go to my CRM, hitting them with a brochure and stuff. That to me was phenomenally exciting. How many, I saw you on LinkedIn, or I got this on LinkedIn. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. Like, that would be exciting for someone. Like, and that's just one example, right? Like, get great at something different, build on, and you'll never lose that. Like, my LinkedIn's on what's the word,
autopilot.
Autopilot. Thank you.
Yep.
But as long as you're just constantly adding on and building, that's, I think, the key to happiness, the key to happiness is helping other people, right? What you do. That's why it's so motivating. So that goes without saying. The key to business happiness is helping other people. Mm-hmm. And then it's seeing things change. It's change. It is change. Right. People fear change And people, Donnie, they love change. That's one of the things as an executive. They love it.
Yep.
They don't know that they do, but they love it.
No, 100%, man. And that's it's nail on the head. I mean, there's so much out there when you step into something different and you choose to do something different. Scary the first time you go do it, but then after you do it, it's funny. I always tell people, or I always hear from people that go through my program, because as you know, what I teach is not, I don't know how to recruit. I don't teach recruiting. I teach business development for recruiters. But what I teach is, for the most part, pretty much different than what else is out there. And so somebody comes through my program, one of the things that goes, man, this was fun, because you're learning a skill, right? And when you're bought into learning a skill and you're growing yourself as a human, I mean, for me, that excites me,
Dude, I remember when I ran across you by mistake on Facebook, because I was just looking for other groups and what have you. You had you had like nothing. It was like less than 100 people in your group for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're out there. I mean, sorry, boom, Donnie's live. I mean, you're out there live, cranking it, doing your thing with a vision of what will come. You're talking to nobody. I mean, I saw a couple of these things. There's one person live. And 30 views in total, which is not bad for a group of 60 people. Right. But so it's, you have to have a plan. Yeah.
So many people are afraid to fail. Right. And it's like when you embrace the process of the game, it's like, I knew that basically from the outside looking in, it looks like I'm eating shit half the time. Right. Because there is one person live and this, that, and the other, but yeah, it slowly, gradually builds. But so many people are afraid to take that, success is built off of failure. Right. And the way I've been able to grow this group to a small group that does decent with interaction now is by consistently showing up and buying new vision. Same story. So yesterday, everybody's on this Clubhouse thing, right?
What we'll talk about that. Like people don't even know what it is, and they're dying to join. I mean, I was witnessing viral crap going on. I have no idea what it is, and I don't think most people know what it is, other than they want in because everyone else does. Let that be a great lesson on recruiting and sales.
There you go, a little scarcity.
Yep.
It's so I didn't really know either, and I've been on it for about a week, and I've been kind of checking in, popping into groups. I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And yesterday I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to start my own room. And, that's always been my advantage. I started a room. Guess who showed up? 2 people besides myself. You know what came of that? 2 phenomenal conversations with people. Right.
Yeah.
And so the next time I do a room, I also learned how to promote and get more people to the room from another guy that showed up. Right. So it's like when you really just embrace this process. And in fact, if I'm listening to the book, The Practice right now, I brought it up in last week's show. It's really good by Seth Godin. And he talks about the infinite game, right? There is no end result. The game is just.
That's right.
It's like when you're playing catch with your son. Are you trying to win?
Right. No. The game is the journey, man.
The game is the journey, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's just something I've really bought into, and it's helped me to point, instead of like being, I think some people are fearful of putting themselves out there because what if I start a room on Clubhouse and 2 people show up? Well, I'll be a failure.
Dude, I hate to sound like Abe Lincoln, and but I had some things. I created it was called Staffing Industry Tube when I first got out. Convinced that I nailed it. It was a sub site, a microsite of like a YouTube site just for staffing and recruiting. Right. And I bought the software and I got all this crap and I'm marketing and I'm just set up my own banking account, checking it, LLC. Dude, this thing friggin' bombed. And I had tons of things like that. And it's okay. And then I had other things I wasn't expecting to hit. Right. And they really hit. And that is life. So what? Right? To your point, one of the things I did is, so my Facebook group, Independent Recruiters and Staffing Agencies, IRSA, has like 4,500 great people in it. I built that thing after COVID.
Right.
How's that? 4,500 targeted people, amazing business generation, amazing relationships, met you. I mean, lots, like it's just amazing. And I did it I said, that's what I'm going to focus on. I thought I was late to the game. I was huge in LinkedIn, but LinkedIn turned to be a spam fest. My group, they stopped giving you rights to message people. I lost all the value of it. Right. And then I saw all these other people in their groups and I'm like, I'm way too, I missed it. And I'm like, you know what? Just like you're saying, maybe I didn't. Let me give it a try. What do I got to lose? Right.
Right.
And Let me have a plan. This wasn't just let me create a group. Let me go and let me come up with a plan of using automation to tell all these groups about this new group. Let me get everyone in my LinkedIn group and try to find a way to hit all these people so that they'll come and find this group. Let me make immediately unbelievable content when they come in. Let me ask people to refer. Let me put it in my auto replies in every email. And just that. And it's painful in the beginning because you start. I know. Look, when I say, if you look at my group, you see Neil's lying. It says April 2019. That's when I set up the group, and I did nothing with it. 19 people in it, 23 people in it, nothing. Mm-hmm. It went from 23 people to almost 5,000 people in 9 months.
I watched it happen, man. It was insane.
Right? So
incredibly rapidly.
But everyone out there needs to do something like that or whatever it is for your clients. So again, it's not. You just have to do it.
You get to play with it, and again, it kind of goes back. And if it's a game, you're not really. There's no perfect. Right. It's just a process that you're going through. And it doesn't matter if it's a Facebook group, if it's a LinkedIn campaign, if it's building content, if it's growing the business itself, buying into that, I think is so important. Got a comment in here earlier from Lou Petto said, let's talk technique. What's your daily workflow? He was commenting earlier as you were talking about you being a machine. So any insight on the workflow for you daily?
So, yeah. And I learned this in college, luckily, and I use the life is a sprint, series of sprints with renewal, not a marathon method. So when I'm in a zone, mm-hmm. I ride it out, whatever that is. No breaks. I'll work till 3 a.m. And when I'm not in a zone, I unride it out. I'll nap. I'll play. I'll whatever. I am so much more productive than the average person because of that. When I'm working, I'm crazy. Ride it. Like, why? Like, it's a shame when you're on this high. Now, again, you have families, you have all these other things. Great. Right. I'm just about, but when you're in a zone at work, you're doing your thing, go for it. Go nuts for 3 days at this crazy level. Don't worry about, like, if you do a little bit of even each day, that becomes that same thing day in and day out. That becomes that marathon. And when people say, life's a marathon, it's so depressing. Like, a marathon, like, that doesn't end. It ends when you die, I guess, right? Or I don't know, like, horrible to me. And so I love that concept, I didn't create it, but of sprint and renewal, sprint and renewal, sprint. And so that's my day. I get up, I work late. I'll work to about 2, 3 in the morning. I'll get up around 9 or 10. Huh. If I go to bed early, I'll get up early and I work. And I get up early half the day because, again, I like to go with where the energy is. Sometimes if I'm done, I'll be done at 7 o'clock working or 6 o'clock work. That's fine. I'll go to bed early. I get up early. I still don't schedule my money calls until 10:30. If you look at my calendar, if you ever schedule it, Neil, I want to set up a meeting about back office staffing solutions.com/Neil, Neil for my calendar. You'll see it starts at 10:30 every day because I use that time to ramp up. Yep. I don't like to be tense about these emails and all these problems that happen. I like to that's Neil time. That's my, I'm not saying the calls don't come in. That's my time to just whatever the hell I want. Business-wise, I'm working.
Right.
I don't do all the stuff playing.
Because I'm the opposite. I'm much more regimented. I don't have, like, my days aren't the same, but, I'm very machine-like. And it's interesting to hear how productive and how successful you are. And you're just kind of basically just working in the moment. Working in the now, whenever it kind of comes to you.
Yeah, no, I'll say this.
You're also not trying to force yourself to do anything as well.
I put in far more hours than the average person because of it, and I could sustain it for a very long period of time. I've tried the regimented. And look, regimented, it doesn't work for a lot of people because it's really hard to be that disciplined. Mm-hmm. Now, let's say this. You should be very regimented, that I'm going to have these intense periods and I'm going to force this 2 hours of this, 2 hours of that. Like, if not, you're not going to make those hard cold calls or follow up on that great lead and really do what you got to do. Those got to be in that intense, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't just come in. All right, I'm going to hit these 35 calls today. Here we go. 11 to 1. I'm on money time. And it doesn't have to be 5 days a week because you're like, maybe not. Are you a Monday person or a Friday person? Right. And everyone's different. Some people are really like, they're good. No one loves Sunday nights, but they're great. And then they fade out of the course of the week. And God bless, give me the weekend, TGIF. And there's other people that, well, Monday and I'm sluggish. And by the end, I'm going, damn, what a bummer that it's a weekend right now. I'm at my peak. Right. You need to know yourself and just work around it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great point right there is you have to find out what works for you, you know, and that's what I've found for me is like, what works for me is knowing where I want to go. But I also, for me, one of the boundaries that I have is like when I get into a point of creation, or if I know that like I can't really do my best work in something that needs my best work, I'm willing to now, you know, set it aside for tomorrow until I can give it the proper energy.
Right? Well, there you go. Absolutely.
So, yeah. But I mean, there's certain things that doesn't matter. You can't always, there's not always that luxury, and sometimes you have to push through. But when I'm doing
you need to be able to not be on all the time. You have to. You need to be able to give yourself outs and breaks. You need to plan downtime. You need to plan that renewal period, you know?
Right.
And again, you need to plan some of those times you're going to hopefully get yourself in a zone. But as I tell people, if you're just not in it, like, look, I still have my moments, right, where whatever, some bad things happen. I just don't want to work. And you know what? I feel like just watching the news or TV and laying down in my bed, I'm not going to say curled up, but not in any mood to just, and it's, you know, I have my moments, you know? Mm-hmm. People are like, dude, this guy is freaking nuts. I'm saying I have my moments where I don't feel like picking up the phone. I don't feel like talking to anyone, and I won't, except for the ones that call me that need to talk to me. And I'll more than make up for it that night even. Like, I'll start going, I'm done. And with my kids, and they're over on break. Like, it's not, well, you don't have kids. I mean, I do. They live with my ex, their mom, but they'll spend a couple weeks at a time here. And I'll hang out. I do my thing. And then, 9 o'clock till 2 in the morning, I'll go nuts if I'm in the mood for it. But the end result is a lot more productivity.
Right. That's very good stuff, man. And Lou wanted to know, what's the difference between a weekday and a weekend?
I don't have a lot of inbound calls coming in on the weekend, and I don't schedule them, but I do enjoy the quiet of working on the weekend. I also enjoy date night. I enjoy doing things. So it's a different pace, but I'll say I've learned to subscribe that for me, the ideal work life, my work-life balance when I worked in corporate America was I could not wait for the weekends. It was work, and they try to balance them. It's not a balance for me. It is all the same. What's the difference between vacation and work? I work every vacation, but I take a lot of vacations. You know, like I'll take 8-9 weeks off, but I work every single one of them. Mm-hmm. But that enables me to take 8 weeks off.
Right.
That tells me to go away anytime I want to, but they all come in, and if I'm on a cruise, I'll dedicate several hours. So I'm going in. Everyone else is planning to do my work. And how can you do that? You're on a cruise. You're missing life. No, I'm on a cruise. I was just on one 2 months ago. I'm like loving this. And most of the time, I'm doing my thing. I'm not at the pool on it 24/7. I'm not. I don't want to give that impression. I'm really enjoying life.
Right.
But they become one. And I think when you get into a rhythm, I think, and there's tons of, I put a post in my group about this because it was one Saturday. I'm like, I'm working like a machine. And I can't believe all these posts come in on the group and comments and likes from people. And I'm like, how many people are out there working right now? And why? Mm-hmm. And it was like 80 people responded to it. And so many people do because they love it, or because recruiting's not a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
But take advantage of being a recruiter. It's also not a 9-to-5 job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You're not working within any type of boundaries.
Right.
You know what I think going back into, I think it's always looking at what works for you. Somebody might be ultra regimented, somebody goes with the flow, and both can work,
Totally.
And knowing yourself is the 100% key. And also like knowing where you're at in your life, with somebody who has, a full on family and, is in the grind of that young family versus somebody who hasn't started a family, or somebody who's been beyond the family. It's a whole different life. There's so many variables.
Right. And the people that are on here that are like, no, weekend's my time. It's precious. It's work ends. God bless you. You're totally right for you.
Mm-hmm.
Totally right.
Exactly. You're totally right for you.
Totally right. That's the right answer. And then the regimen discipline. And look, I'm a machine from Monday to Friday. And then at home, I shut it off. Perfect. You know yourself and it works. Yeah. But during the week too, build some time off. right? Try to force those lunches.
I'm more of a seasonal guy. My business is always humming in the winter months because there's no football. Business always declines in the fall and the winter because I'm always watching football. But yeah, it goes back into that's. I know that's non-negotiable for me. I just love the game, and that's what I'm going to spend my time doing. But I think with all that's out there, somebody's always telling you how you should live your life and do your thing, and it's really about finding something that works for you. And what I've learned from my coaches and trainers through the years, I've hybrided and all that stuff. So, Lou just commented back here on rhythm. That's the key. Thank you for your feedback, Lou. And just taking a step back, Carrie, Rachel, and Vince Wainwright both were talking about Clubhouse, how they're on there and they're loving the whole thing. So,
I guess I'm gonna have to check it out. I do love technology. I'm a big gadget guy. I love new methods and ways. But it goes to show you, I guarantee you, behind Clubhouse, there's a whole slew of people that told them they're nuts. There's no room for anything else.
Oh, 100%. Well, I didn't understand it. Even when I got on it the first time, I'm like, I don't know. Like, and it's always a balance because I don't like to chase shiny objects. I like to focus on where I'm strong. But I'll be honest, this one's got me hooked in. And especially after I hosted my first room yesterday, and the amount of interaction that I was able to have with them. And it's funny, both the guys were actually followers of mine here in Facebook and LinkedIn, and then they saw me start the group. Like, hey, dude, we saw you in here. Started talking to me and had great conversations with it. So yeah, Clubhouse, I think is something people have got to really start checking out. I think.
Wow. Yeah. All right. I mean,
the network. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool little thing there. So I know we originally we wanted to talk about a little bit of temp staffing. What are you thinking there, man? I mean, I'm completely unqualified.
Well, listen, I mean, it's self-serving for me. Yes, the more people do temp staffing, the more they need a service like mine to place their temps. But I don't care who you need to do temp staffing. I mean, it couldn't be more evident than it is now. There's so many people, no, we only do direct hire. Come on. Make sure your clients know that you also will do contract to hire, temp to hire. You need to. You have to. It's a gold mine out there, and people, they're being asked now. So we have so many people that have onesies and twosies because their clients are asking them. A lot of people don't even know there's a resource like us where you can go to, but you need to do it. Those of you, and again, it's great training. If you only do a search business and you want to know how to sell this to your clients, I've got a great audience. No commercial. There's no sign up for it. I'm not getting your email. It's just strictly streaming on my site. It's backofficestaffingsolutions.com/audio. Clever. And it's an hour training session I did with someone on how to make your clients aware that you do it and the real angle of why you want to turn every search job into a temp job also. A lot of reasons, right? And give you some highlights of it, or again, listen to it. But you let your clients know there's no way that a perm interview is fraught with problems, as we know. There's the halo effect. They hire the people that look good and sound good and interview great on Zoom now. But there's people who interview great that are great. There's people who interview great who are horrible. There's people who interview poorly, who are poor candidates. And there's people who interview poor that are great. You can't tell in an interview is the point. The only way to really avoid a very expensive mishire, the really only way, if you're lucky enough to find someone unemployed, is to have them work with you and do the job for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. It's the only way. Right. Now, in this economy, it's no taboo for even being unemployed, but you're going to have some great people. Anytime you're working a job and you have one of your candidates unemployed, if you're not pitching them to go into that company, temp to perm, and still work your order, Donnie, I'm not talking about changing your business model. Right. So that's what's in the audio. So you got to do it. Use a back office service like myself. If you do a lot of temps, we can help you with that too. We do tons of amazing things. But again, I don't want this to be a plug about my show or me or whatever. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fine, man. I mean, you're on here. I'm giving you the mic, giving you the spotlight. And I know, I mean, just to kind of reiterate, with the clients that I'm working with that are doing both perm and temp, there's a lot of opportunity with temp because of the uncertainty in the marketplace, that with the uncertainty in the world right now, and people to have that as a solution. And I think the biggest thing, just to kind of where your company comes into play, is that it takes away all the headache of
What do I have to do for this? What do I have to do for that? What do I have to do? Oh, boom! Here's the one-stop solution. Now I'm
Done.
in business.
Workers' comp claims.
Business overnight. So I think it's a brilliant solution that you offer there.
Totally. And we do it super high tech. We built a better mousetrap, like I was saying before, than the business model. We do stuff. If you're using an employer of record, check us out. It definitely talk to me. Check out Boss. It's totally different. We just rolled out a branding center for all our where we're doing free design for, you name it, websites, logos. We're paying full-time marketing people just to do this for our clients, because we want to be every great resource for recruiters, if they have a need, temp back office.
That's beautiful, dude.
Look us up.
Really cool. That's really cool. What are you seeing? I mean, what are some of the trends that you're seeing with temp staffing in general? I mean, I know that's obviously a loaded question with all the market segments that are.
Well, the obvious one is healthcare is just booming like crazy. There's, almost in any decent economy, there's always a shortage of nurses. And with COVID and pulling every nurse every which way you can for all sorts of testing, and now it's going to be vaccinations and what have you, it's amazingly hot. Manufacturing is super hot. So the whole light industrial world, everything there, as there's been, big pent up demand there. And the other thing is, and it's a great niche, IT it continues to be amongst the strongest performers in terms of the professional side. That's the place to be and to play if you're debating switching niches or you're new. That's where you want to go for a lot of reasons. And temp is a gold mine in it, for that. And search is amazing in it,
Yeah, there's not going to be any shortage of technical talent anytime soon.
No. They last a long time.
There'll be shortage of talent for a long time.
Right. Yeah, I know what you meant. It was like when you said that's putting the head on the nail, is what you said before. So I know what you meant. Strike that, reverse it, as Willy Wonka says. Yeah.
Love it, man. For those of you that are watching live, we're going to wrap this thing up here in a few minutes. So drop any questions in the comments below that you have for Neil and his career and his journey, or anything about the Boss back office staffing solutions, or just any temp questions in general. So we can get to you. Carol, just want to acknowledge your comment. Carol said, I work 7 days a week and will die with Spotify playing and LinkedIn on my.
Awesome. That's right. Spotify playing. Totally.
Yep.
And the music comes off. I'll keep the news in the background, or I put on the music there. As soon as a call comes in, I use Alexa, pause the music, love it. Wonderful.
So what type of music do you get down to? And for those of you listening, I'd love to see what people like to work to. What do you usually listen to?
Oh, Jesus. It's a Pandora station called Cigarettes After Sex. No joke. It's like really cool mix of jazzy tones and indie and I like mellow in my background.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I know. There's tons of comments you can make on that, but that's what it's called. My kids crack. My kids have run 14 to 21, and I'm like, Alexa, play Cigarettes After Sex, and they're like, it's funny stuff for kids.
Cigarettes After Sex. I love
Alexa's just playing it now.
Oh, there you go.
Alexa, stop. That's so funny. She's like, playing Cigarettes After Sex on Apple Music.
That's funny. That's good stuff. I'll have to check that one out.
It's good. Totally. And it's on Apple Music. It's on Pandora. It's on Spotify. It's on like all of them. It's really good.
Yeah. I'm a music junkie, and I really don't, my genres are all over the map. So I can dig some good jazz, and I'll listen to some electronic music too.
Me too. I'm totally eclectic.
Yeah, I love electronic music actually when I'm in my vibe and working. It just kind of motivates me and takes me to another split.
And to go with my music, I ordered today. I was hungry, didn't really have breakfast, so I ordered my lunch, dinner. I ordered a bunch of sushi, 6 rolls. Then I'll pick on. I'll eat some tomorrow. My daughter, I give her my college age daughter, I give her a free DoorDash once a week. Use it or lose it to go somewhere fancy and nice. She put it to her address. My sushi got delivered to her home. And I said, it's delivered. I go outside, figure I'm going to nosh down a spicy tuna roll before seeing you. And there's nothing there. And I'm like, oh, no. And I look at the DoorDash. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I got to somehow, I'm not even going to be free till like 7 to get it. So no sushi for you.
No sushi for you. You're going to take a rain check on that one. April likes a little gospel and 80s R&B. Thank you for sharing, April. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, right on, Neil, man. Thank you for hanging, man.
Hey, man. Pleasure, dude.
Yeah.
And I still have beard envy. I have beard envy with you. This is what I get. This is me for like a week. Look at you. That's 2 days of growth for you.
2 days of growth, baby.
It is, right? No joke, is it?
Oh, absolutely.
That's sick, man.
Yeah. Well, in some cases it's good. In other cases it keeps you busy,
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I mean, at least I got a little something, but I look ridiculous next to you on this thing. Like, look at that.
I could grow a mean goatee back when I was 14 years old. I don't know if it's something that,
dude, look how bad this is. Look at that.
Oh, you're patchy. You're patchy.
Yeah, patchy. It's patchy and thin. It's, like my hair was until I went for the Matt Lauer.
There you go. Go. Right on, man. Where can everybody connect with you? I know you mentioned back office solutions.
Hey, absolutely. LinkedIn. I'm so connected to recruiters and the industry. Neil Lebovits, hard name, but backofficestaffing.solutions.com. Go ahead and check it out. You get a pop-up for an ebook when you're there. Love to work with some of y'all, but I'm happy to help you too with advice and point you in directions, even if you don't use me. It's the key to success too. Always give more than you want to get back. Always.
100%. Love that. If you could leave everybody with one last golden piece
of advice, bitch, man. You've been putting me on the spot all the time. One last.
I'm going to bleed you until I get it all out of you, man. And I know there's one more in there, so let me know what it is.
Oh my God. I mean, I could do like one of the old like cliches. If you think you can't, then you're right.
There you go. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. There you go.
That's right. Exactly.
Right on, brother. Thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, sir.
Right on. Relevant.
Hasta la vista, baby.
We'll see you guys.
Au revoir.